1920, Prohibition arrived, and a country just recovering from the war jitters fell into a new delirium. College students, yes, even high school kids and flappers joined the mad party, and the jazz age was born.
So, the Harlem Renaissance, also known as the New Negro Movement, was started in a neighborhood in New York City, New York. The name, the Harlem Renaissance, was given to it because of the cultural, social, and artistic explosions that were started in Harlem during World War I and throughout the mid-1930s. These explosions were started by African American writers, artists, musicians, photographers, poets, and scholars who came out of the shadows to show what they were capable of and what they can put in out there in the world. The enjoyment that they can spread throughout the world. This inspired many other African Americans to come out of the shadows throughout other states and other cities, which led to a bigger renaissance to help bring in the jazz music and other types like the jazz dances that we will be showing throughout this video.
A few examples on the dancing styles on the 1920s would be the foxtrot. The foxtrot was a hands down the most popular dance of the 1920s and 1930s. It was also one of the easiest. The essential step was nothing more than smooth, graceful walking. The dancers had the option of introducing more elaborate step patterns, but all rested on a foundation of walking. Its simplicity and infinite variability meant that it could be adapted to almost any dance situation. Another example of dancing styles in the 1920s would be the Charleston dance. The Charleston dance is named for the harbor city of Charleston, South Carolina. The rhythm was popularized in mainstream dance music in the United States by a 1923 tune called The Charleston by composer pianist James P. Johnson, which originated in the Broadway show Runnin' Wild and became one of the most popular hits of the decade. Running Wild ran from 29 October 1923 through 28 June 1924. The peak year for the Charleston as a dance by the public was mid-1926 to 1927.
This dance.
Louis Armstrong, an all-star virtuoso, becomes the main representative of the jazz music. He influenced many musicians with his trumpet style and vocals. He did not just do jazz, but all the popular genres of music. Armstrong wanted to stay in his hometown, New Orleans, until King Oliver offered him a position in his band in Chicago, where he became the greatest jazz musician. Joe King Oliver is one of the most important figures in the early jazz. Joe was famous for his using of mutes, bottles, and cups to alternate the sound of his cornet. Joe got rich on playing his instruments. That idea got to his head that he wouldn't play for small clubs. People started to take his place, and he was forgotten. Edward Kid Orley, 1912 to 1919. He held one of the most popular bands in New Orleans. Orley's band featured many of the greatest musicians, such as Louis Armstrong, Joe King Oliver. In 1922, they became the first African-American jazz band from New Orleans to record a record. Beck Spiderbeck. He was one of the greatest jazz musicians in the 1920s and was a huge alcoholic at a young age. The legend of Beck's grew even larger after he died. Beck's never learned music very well, but he had a passion for music. Jelly Roll Morton. He was the first great composer and piano player of jazz. He played on the West Coast from 1917 to 1922, and then moved to Chicago, where he had a huge hit. He formed a band, the Red Hot Peppers, and made a series of classic records, where they were the greatest records of the 1920s. Some musicians to recognize are Paul Whiteman, Doug Ellington, and Earl Hines.
Music instruments from the 1920s would be trumpet or cornet, trombone, clarinet, saxophones, drums, piano, banjo, guitar, tuba, string bass, and a violin.